Thank you so much. This has been a massive breakthrough for me. I've been really working hard at trying to clear all the negative emotions for a long time. And this was just that. And now I feel like a dam has burst. I'm having such beautiful moments of clarity, and I just really appreciate it. I don't really have a question. I'm just really appreciative.
Well, that observation is worth acknowledging and holding to the feeling of. There's nothing that will serve you better than that feeling right here, right now. So it's good to sort of take it in and feel it and acknowledge how it got there and acknowledge the feeling of resonance that it is with your inner being. It's one of the lovely things about meditating and finding that feeling, because it helps you to calibrate your thoughts deliberately later. Now, as you acknowledge that feeling, acknowledge it and isolate it and then calibrate to it. That's mastery.
Sometimes I was just in my chair feeling what I'm doing now is just really opening and just feeling
wholeness,
openness, and then I'll wait and there'll be some sort of a voice or an idea or a word.
Yeah, that means you're receiving.
Yeah, and sometimes it feels like I'll see, we just bought a new Tesla, and so I'll see our car and I'll feel excited about driving it and think about that. And
your inner being will take you on the path of least resistance to the least resistant thoughts. So those things you're most excited about are often the thoughts that come into your mind. That's good. Esther moves furniture around often.
Right. And then sometimes I was sitting there and I got this thought of, oh, I'm really excited for all this abundance, but then I checked in and I thought, oh, wait a minute, there's a wobble in that.
Abundance is one of those words that can often bring a wobble.
Right. And so I just thought, and I just stopped and I said, oh, I'm just gonna stop and then refocus.
You know, a really nice thing, and this is what happened to you, and you talked about it because it's of advantage to everyone else. So you get tuned in and you start seeing or hearing the movie, which leads to another thought, that your inner being is also inspired. So the Tesla was an easy, non-resistant way to go. And then the next thought, introduced in the midst of the easy thought, could go one of two ways. It could either make the harder thought a little easier, or it could introduce a little bit of resistance. Doesn't matter which one it is, it only matters that you're aware. So you know when to back off, you know when to give your attention to it. That's how you figure this out, isn't it?
Because sometimes I'll feel the abundance thought and then it'll just be like, so much money coming, it's so easy, and I can think about the ways that money is flowing and feel really appreciative. And then, so I guess it's just, if it feels easy, just go with it.
Well, think of abundance and resources, and think of resources and abundance, and resources meaning air that you're breathing, and friends that you're playing with, and conversations that you're having. There are a lot of resources that don't have the resistance that the money thing has. And so when you get into that place of feeling abundance, turn the word to resources and acknowledge the incredible resources. Our favorite thing about this state of alignment is that it's not just a state of clarity, but it is. And it's not just a state of love, but it is. But it is a state of replenishment. Well, is there a better word that goes with abundance than replenishment? Because we want you to express your money outward, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And so if it's going out, it's got to be replenished, you see. Your planet is such a planet of replenishment. There are so many people that want to pinch you off from accepting the well-being of your planet. But the well-being of your planet is so abundant with evidence of replenishment, 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 you see. That's what your vortex is. Your vortex is never-ending replenishment for the manifestations of your life experience. You're not ever going to be without the things that are important to you, because your vortex is laden with them and flowing them to you, you see. So when you think in terms of your vortex and the abundance of it, and you get those glimpses of it flowing to you, For Esther, the feeling of clarity is the strongest feeling of abundance that she has. But she sees it everywhere. Replenishment, 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 never-ending replenishment, never-ending abundance. Question, answer, problem, solution, replenishment, 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 replenishment. Expansion. There's no regression. You can't go back. Once you have birthed it and it's in your vortex, and once your inner being is all over it, it's a done deal. It is for sure, for sure, for sure. The only question is, how long is it going to take you to talk yourself into letting it in? And the answer to that is, how soon are you willing to let go of whatever it is you're focused upon, to let the now give way to the true now, to let the vibrational reality. Manifestations that are around you, surrounding you, they're old news. It's like gum you've chewed the flavor out of. The vortex is where it all is. And so when you open that valve and you find the key to that, what that feels like, then you just have one satisfying moment after another, after another, after another, after another. And you get so good. It's a muscle that you practice that is so natural to you that it's freaky when you stumble back across an old belief that doesn't fit anymore. Just feels freaky. Shocking. A little shocking. I remember when I used to feel that way, but I haven't felt that way for a while. Yeah.
I've been playing this game where I'll imagine if I had all the money in the world, how would I feel? And just feel so abundant and no problem putting
If you had all the
money
money in the world, you know how you'd feel? Out of balance, because no one person will ever have all the money in the world.
You know what I mean? I had just,
say it the way you mean it.
If I had all the money, unlimited resources for everything that I could want, which I do, then how does that feel?
Let's say this the way it really is. I just like to imagine what it would be like if my life caused me to have all of these desires that I was letting being satisfied. That's a vibrationally accurate statement. My life, as it came to me, as it came at me, caused me to launch desires and make big requests. And my vortex, full of those requests, and my inner being standing there with them, gathered all the cooperative components and accomplished the vibrational version of that. So it's not a matter of if. We would start saying, since my vortex is full of everything that I've ever asked for, then wouldn't it be nice if I could find a mindset, a mood, an attitude, a habit of thought that would allow evidence of that abundance to show up now. So it's not just abundance of dollars, it's having an impulse to leave the thoroughfare at the appropriate time, or feeling an impulse to call someone, or.
We have a business that we're creating, my partner and I.
You have a business that you've already created that you're trying to figure out how to let into your reality.
Yeah.
Do you believe the vortex version of it?
Yes, I know it.
Would you describe it to us in the only scanty way you can? The vortex version. You can't begin to describe it as it really is, but take a stab at it.
So we're creating centers, spaces, physical spaces all around the world for this type of work, for things that are uplifting and supportive of alignment, and events that support that, and a technology platform that connects all the wellness. And
do you believe that all of those components are already in your vortex, or are you still collecting data that has contributed to it?
It feels very, very clear. It feels like now is the time for it to just show up, and it feels done.
Well, now is the time for it, but the timing of it, here's the thing about your vortex. Everything is ripe for the picking, but you got to be there to pick it.
That's what's been happening, is that since I feel like when we last talked 3 years ago, I was manifesting a new relationship and my career path, and I've met and I'm with the woman of my dreams and have found the career of my dreams, and I feel just so blessed to know exactly what I want, to be so clear that it's right. And then the last 3 years have been about aligning myself so that I can stay in this vortex and be in my true self to allow that to flow through.
Perfect.
And now I feel like I've got it, and it's just going to happen organically.
We agree with all of that. There's just one thing that we want to clarify with you, and that is when you get all tuned in, like you described earlier in our conversation, and you have a thought about this unfolding, very helpful and productive enterprise. As those thoughts flow to you, the thought is evidence of your alignment. But you've been thinking about this for quite a long time, and you have habits of thinking about it when you thought about it when you weren't in alignment. And you want to know the difference between regurgitating the way you used to think about it and receiving the new way of thinking about it. Do you follow that? That's what bridging beliefs really is all about. Let's not call it bridging beliefs. That's what discerning. Here's your source energy, your inner being who has beliefs. And then there's the beliefs that you hold. You want these beliefs to merge, and you don't want the beliefs that don't match to be activated. So you just want to pay attention, because you might activate a belief that's in your way. But good news is, every time you do it, it will feel uncomfortable.
Right, and just stop, reset, and then find that positive end of the stick.
Because you set this whole thing in motion more from your human perspective. In other words, you did more thinking about it than you did receiving about it. Now you're doing more receiving about it. So what we're saying to you is, don't let that feeling of it being ready get you to thinking about it with some sort of urgency to try to force it forward. Let it be. Just let it be. Let the ideas lead it forward. This is the thing that we want to talk about and 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 talk about, is the difference between receiving a thought and thinking a thought. Well, it's quite a thing to contemplate, isn't it? Because the thing about you receiving a thought is, if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, did it make a sound? If a thought is thought in the atmosphere and there's no one there who's a vibrational match to it, then did the thought turn to words in someone's mind? No. We know that was a little stretchy, but you got what we're... And so when you receive a thought, acknowledge the pristine quality of the thought that you have received. And notice the difference. You can project a thought. You've gathered enough information on enough subjects that all of you could carry on somewhat of an interesting conversation on many, many different subjects. But whether you are in a state of allowing as you are speaking or not is the question. And so we're asking you, because we can feel the power of your alignment, to decide that you are going to be consciously aware of whether you're translating vibration into the thought that you're thinking, or whether it's a thought that you have often thought that you're just projecting out there. Can you feel the difference? Can you? Are we off in the weeds too far? Can you feel it? If you're with someone and you're all tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you feel so good. You're in love with life and you're in love with her. And there she is, not doing anything particularly wonderful, just being. And you're so tuned in, and you just well up and you just explode with these words of sincere appreciation for something about her. That's receiving a thought. But if you're moving around in your house and you notice that she seems diminished in some way, and you think, I better cheer her up. Now you're projecting a thought, not receiving one. Feel the difference? Mm-hmm. This is a really good time for a segment of refreshment.